Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Just Open It, the YouTube series in which I open recently acquired toys. My name is Russ. Thank you very much for watching this video. I really appreciate it. If you're a fellow toy collector or a fan of pop culture in general, please subscribe to my channel, Karaoke Fanboy TV. Every week I do open a recently acquired toy or collectible, and today I am opening Sla'ker. I believe that's how we pronounce this, from the Turtles of Grayskull line. This figure is a combination of Faker from Masters of the Universe, He-Man's robotic duplicate, and Sla'ker, who was kind of this evil turtle, a doppelganger of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So, kind of a natural combination to take those two characters that were these, like, dark reflections of the main heroes and to put them into this single character. Super cool. I want to say it's Faker. Is this pronounced Sla'ker? But I know it's not. That sounds more like we're mashing up He-Man with Saved by the Bell or something like that. But no, it's Sla'ker. It's cool. Kind of a cool 90s name. And I really feel like Mattel is having fun with this line. I mean, when I saw this figure, I was amazed by his size. I was amazed by the distinction of his expression there, and I just feel like they're kind of cutting loose with this, and it's a lot of fun to see. I want to thank AZ Toy Hunter Guild, I think is the Instagram. It might be Toy Hunters Guild. AZ Toy Hunters Guild. I'll put the link to his Instagram in the description of this video, because thanks to his constant posts on what's available out there here in the Phoenix market, I knew that Sla'ker was out, and I went to a local Target, showed them the barcode on Toy Hunter's post, and he was able to scan that and say, "Oh, we have some of these in the back," and he went back and he got me one. Of course, I went to a Target the next day, and he was on the peg, so I think I was a day ahead of his official release. But that's cool. I mean, I got the figure a day ahead of its debut on the pegs, and that was a lot of fun to do that. So again, my thanks to my fellow toy hunter here in Arizona, and again, please follow him if you're interested in upcoming toy announcements, debuts, reviews. He's a pretty cool dude. So with that said, I am going to rip into this guy. The back art is just absolutely amazing, where we see Sla'ker emerging from a slime pit. And the description is, when Krang's scheme to mutate He-Man required a test subject, Skeletor knew just who to use: He-Man's robotic doppelganger, Faker. Covered in the same mutagen that created the evil turtle Slash, the diabolical duplicate rose from the ooze as the deadly robot turtle Sla'ker. So the presumption here is Faker goes into the ooze and emerges as Sla'ker. And there's just a little description of how you could remove his armor and reveal that robotic, the workings that are on his chest. And then he includes parts that will help build Metal Botto, a combination of Metalhead and Roboto. In fact, he has Metal Botto's head in here, so I'm excited to see that. Let's tear into this guy and see what I have to behold here. Pretty tightly wrapped, so I'm just going in on the side. The whole point of this is to just open it. And I think Mousejaw was his name. He was the other. Oh, this is fun. And this was, when I opened Mousejaw, I saw this too. They're putting some like instruction on the flap, so that's obscured when it's fully packaged. And yet, as you open it, there's even more detail here, as far as removing his shell to make a shield, something that's pretty consistent with this line, and then how to kind of sheathe his knife. So that's pretty cool. I wonder if that's on the other side too. Let me see. Yeah, it's on both sides, so it doesn't matter which side you open. Interesting detail there. But this figure is just kind of massive, to be honest. Like I said, I was really surprised by his size. And I wonder how he stands in proportion to the other characters. Frankly, he seems like he'd be too big. But they're really going for broke with this line. I feel like Mattel's just having fun. Okay, so I went to take him out of the package, and the first thing that happened was his hand came off in my hand with his gauntlet. So I know these figures are supposed to have that kind of interconnectivity. You could take them apart, mix and match, but I'm not a fan of that as a first impression of the figure. Okay, he's kind of coming, it's all falling apart here. And I wonder if that's just because of how massive he is. A lot of density to this figure here. And again, I don't prepare, like, I don't have a pair of scissors nearby or anything, because my mentality is I'm tearing into this like a child would to play with. And I wish that was the mentality they had when they packaged these toys, because what is the point of this stuff? Extra plastic. You know, I'm not an environmentalist, but we don't need it. The vacuum seal of this part of the plastic shell is enough to hold the character in place. So I'm absolutely baffled by that every time. But I have Metal Ballo's head and his pelvis and thighs here as well. So interesting. Some of his arm attachments came with Mouse Trap, or whatever his name was. And so this is the second of 4 figures that I need to assemble the character completely. But in the meantime, what's kind of cool about this, and I love that his jaw has I could feel that there's something here at the neck. So like, once the character is assembled, I assume that's going to be able to move freely. But what's cool about this now is, like, I could display Sla'ker holding this head as if it were a trophy from a victory, kind of reminiscent of my one of my favorite comics, and the one that got me into collecting comics, Amazing Spider-Man 347, where Venom holds aloft a skull draped with Spider-Man's mask and says, "Alas, poor Spider-Man, I killed thee well," or something like that. Alright, so I got the gauntlet and the hand back on. The shell shield popped off as I was taking the figure out of the package, but just look at that thing. Spiky, fun, cool, and again, it doubles as a shield. So what's nice is it's a shell indicative of the Ninja Turtles, and it's a shield indicative of He-Man. So they've really done a great job melding the universes here. But I'll put the shell back on his back. I hope I'm doing that the right way. And just initial impressions of this guy, again, is just mass and density. Beefy, you know. There's that hand again. Popped right off. Interesting. So I'd love to know in the comments if that's your experience as you're opening and fiddling with this figure too. The shell's not on right. So you gotta line up these pegs to these holes. So I want to do that. I don't know if the handle goes up here. I'm not quite sure which way the shell goes. I'll try this way. I find this kind of stuff both fun and frustrating. Like, I want the figure to come out intact, display ready, you know, and I could just like mess with his joints and pose and then position. But sometimes nowadays, some assembly required. So just moving him around a little bit. Look at I mean, his head is huge, I feel like. It's almost disproportionate, but in a cool way. It's cartoony. And that's something that's lacking from a lot of action figures nowadays, frankly. They're all in proportion, and they're, you know, anatomically correct as far as musculature and so on. The hand popped off again. That's an interesting challenge. That's really weird. I don't know if I'm just hitting it oddly every time or what, but and he's got these knives, and these remind me of Slash's knife. Slash came with 4 weapons, if I remember correctly. In fact, I have a Slash on my shelf back here. I should have grabbed him for a comparison, but I never think about these things too much. I'm just so excited to open these toys. You know, and he came with, like, demented versions of the Turtles' weapons. So I always likened these knives to, I think, Raph's sai. And then he came with, like, a mace, which was like Donatello's bow. He came with some crazy nunchucks that were all spiked. I'm trying to remember what else. I think there was a fourth weapon. But, oh, this, right? Did I say that? So, yeah, I think I did. So there's a fourth weapon that isn't coming to mind for the original Slash. But when it comes to Sla'ker, man, look at this. And there's the Faker gear in there, but let me take a closer look. Is it meant to represent pizzas now? Before, Faker, He-Man's robotic duplicate, had like this kind of reel-to-reel looking mechanism on his chest. It was a great way to represent like robotics to kids in the 80s. Like robotic gear in He-Man's chest. Maybe that's where his like vocal cords came from or something. In this case, it looks like they've simulated that, but with pizza iconography. So, same but different. And it's a Slash, you know, that's in his armor. So, at the end of the day, this is just an incredible figure. I don't believe it exists. A Slash Faker hybrid. His feet. The legs seem to be pretty consistent with all these guys, just like the Origins. It's the Origins mold. But, man, oh man, just get a load of that. Massive, heavy, and then you have the promised future of Metal Botto here, with his very cool-looking head. And this He-Manic pelvis and thighs. So I can't wait to see where this line goes. Also included is this little, not a mini comic, but like a collector's card, but a big one. And Mousejaw came with this too. It surprised me then. I'm not as surprised now. These deluxe figures for this line must all come with this. And I find it a bit superfluous because, again, I'm just trying to eliminate unnecessary packaging, boxes. I want these figures to stand in display. Because as an adult collector, that's pretty much as far as it goes. I'm not really playing with these things, but awesome art on this. Wow. Wow, that's cool. And then the back has some interesting stats here, with another cool art piece. But it's funny, it describes Faker and Slash. It says Faker, near perfect He-Man replica. Near perfect, other than the blue skin and the orange hair. Almost right spot on a He-Man replica. Superhuman strength, robotic endoskeleton. Slash is an evil mutated snapping turtle. Psycho with a spiked shell. Ooze for brains. So that description sums up this character, I guess. You put both those things together, what you get is Sla'ker, and he's not slacking. He's bringing the goods. Highly recommended. Very much enjoy this figure. So thank you very much for watching this episode. I really appreciate it. If you're a fan of pop culture, like I said, please follow my channel. Also, you can follow me on Instagram at AmazingAZComics, where I post about the comics and toys that I love, but I also post about the comics and zines that I make. I self-publish many comics and zines right here out of Phoenix, Arizona, and I'd love to see you there. And you can show your support just by following that account. That'd be much appreciated. In the meantime, tune in next time when I grab another unopened toy from here in my living room and I say, you know what? Just open it. I'll catch you next time.